is Valley News Live at 4.
We begin this Tuesday afternoon with breaking news as a Moorhead murder suspect is in custody after several agencies helped to arrest him in Rochester, Minnesota. Police say 26-year-old Idris Haji Mohammed was the person involved in a Friday night shooting in the 3000 block of 17th Street South in Moorhead. That shooting left 32-year-old Abdi for dead. We're also hearing today that Haji Mohammed faced an attempted murder charge in 2017 after police say he shot at another man multiple times at an Olive Garden in Rochester. Police say the investigation into the Moorhead murder is still very active and that the relationship between the suspect and the victim is unknown. However, they believe it was not a random act of violence. Let's turn our attention now to the weather here in the Red River Valley. Our chief meteorologist Hutch Johnson is here with a word on our Tuesday afternoon. Hutch?
Mike, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. As we head into the late part of the day, our view from our Skycam network at the Dakota Magic Casino shows a few fair weather cumulus clouds, but the flags flapping, camera shaking from time to time. Gusty winds from the northwest kind of kept our temperatures today at bay. Take a look at a few passing cumulus clouds across the area as most of the cloud cover exits into the Great Lakes area. The radar extremely quiet. Across the area, most of us are near 70 degrees. Fargo, the warm spot in the mid 70s. A hot spot though in the region down near the corn maze at Mitchell, where it's near 80 degrees. Here's a look at your planning forecast in Fargo tonight. Temperatures sneaking down quickly through the 60s after sunset. The wind decreases a bit as well, but it'll be breezy and cool if you're stepping outside for that walk around the sunset hour. Temperatures a little bit cooler still up in Grand Forks. Coming up, we'll have details about some rain chances the next 2 days, and we'll have the latest in your hour-by-hour forecast, Mike, in a few moments.
All right, we'll look forward to that. Thanks, Hutch. It's been a very big day for 159 immigrants who all became U.S. citizens in Fargo. These are people from all over the world who took the oath and pledged their allegiance to the United States. Among them, a young woman from Cameroon who has lived in Fargo since 2016.
I feel like honored to be part of this great country, and I feel like this is the beginning of like greater things for me and my family.
And we'll have much more on this story coming up tonight on Valley News Live at 5. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken testified for a second day on Capitol Hill on the administration's withdrawal from Afghanistan. Blinken outlined the process of how the administration is currently helping Americans who are still in that country and wish to leave. He said that there's still about 100 Americans in Afghanistan.
Some, for very understandable reasons, are changing their mind from day to day about whether or not they want to leave. Others continue, even now, to raise their hands and say, I'm an American citizen in Afghanistan, someone who had not identified themselves before.
Blinken reiterated that the administration didn't expect the rapid collapse of the Afghan government and its security forces as Taliban militants advanced across the country in July and August. The United Nations says millions of people in Afghanistan could run out of food within the coming months. The UN says after the Taliban takeover, work is hard to find. Money to buy food is even harder. The World Food Program says it needs $200 million immediately, and the international community has promised more than $1 billion in emergency assistance, even before the Taliban took over last month. Afghanistan was facing a food crisis because of a drought which destroyed 40% of the crops and set food prices soaring. While hospitals in parts of the country struggle to keep up with the number of COVID-19 patients, the government is evaluating data to determine if Americans should get a booster shot. As Natalie Brand reports, other countries are already making the move for parts of their population.
Emergency departments in hard-hit areas are overwhelmed with COVID patients.
We lost 5 patients yesterday.
Teresa King is the ICU nurse supervisor at Cape Coral Hospital in Florida.
There's no time to wait. There's people waiting for the beds before it even happens.
In Alabama, where only about 40% are fully vaccinated, ICU beds have reached capacity.
We got patients on ventilators in hallways.
More than 300 additional Kentucky National Guard members have been sent to serve in logistical roles at hospitals across that state, trying to relieve some of the burden.
Well, some states struggle to get even a first dose in people's arms. Friday, an FDA advisory committee will hold a meeting to discuss Pfizer's application for a booster shot.
This comes as two outgoing FDA officials questioned the need for a third shot, telling The Lancet widespread boosting should be undertaken only if there is clear evidence that it is appropriate. It's a position that puts them at odds with the FDA, top Biden administration health officials, and outside medical experts.
I think it's inappropriate for current FDA officials to write an op-ed based on their ideas.
CBS medical contributor Dr. David Agus says new data coming out of Israel makes a convincing case. The country approved a booster shot for 60 and older in late July.
I've talked to health officials there, and it's clear that immunity goes down on a monthly basis, and giving a booster shot raises immunity 4 to 10-fold.
The UK announced starting next week it will offer booster shots for people over 50 and the vulnerable.
Israel recently expanded its booster program to include anyone over 1 year old. In Minnesota, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension says more than 40,000 Minnesotans have downloaded the app for providing tips to the BCA about threats in schools and religious facilities. This free app is called See It, Say It, Send It, and your tips are anonymous. The Minnesota BCA launched the app just a couple of weeks ago. Norm MacDonald, a comic who is known as the anchor of Saturday Night Live's popular weekend update segments, has died. His manager is reporting that MacDonald had been battling cancer for several years, but kept his diagnosis private. Norm MacDonald was 61. This is the time of year when fire departments see an increase in carbon monoxide calls. West Fargo firefighters already have. On average, 400 people die each year in the United States from carbon monoxide poisoning. It's known as the silent killer because you can't see or smell it. At low levels, CO poisoning symptoms include dizziness, headache, and flu-like symptoms. High levels include mental confusion, vomiting, and you can die. It is especially common in the colder months. Make sure you have your carbon monoxide detectors checked by a trained professional.
So unlike smoke, we can't see, taste, or smell carbon monoxide. So if you don't know that anything is happening to you until you start feeling the effects, it's already affected your body to the point where it will take maybe possibly long-term effects to your system.
And it is important to make sure that you check your carbon monoxide detector every year. Replace the device every 10 years. If you see a Grand Forks firefighter, don't be surprised if they're holding a boot. They're hitting the street this week for their annual Fill the Boot drive, raising money for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Today, firefighters are out. At the intersection of 4th Avenue and Belmont Road, you might find some, as well as University Drive and North 4th Street. You can see the other fundraiser locations on your screen right now and on our website. That's valleynewslive.com. Stick around. After the weather, the latest on Hurricane Nicholas, its strength, its path, and its expected problems for people along the Louisiana coast.
Today, a cool northwest wind gusting over 20 miles per hour for many areas, keeping temperatures at bay, at or below average to the east, and at or just above average to the west. Your hour-by-hour forecast does include at least a chance of rain for many areas. Details are next.